just our introduction this morning to the week's theme, which is the chakras. The chakras are I like to think of them as our hidden energy centers. So as you're getting into Shavasana, we're going to go through them briefly in Shavasana. So all you need to do in Shavasana this morning is just breathe. Just find yourself grounded, which comes into it initially in our chakras. So find yourself grounded here. Bring yourself to the mat, lie on your back. Find that connection with the earth beneath you, supporting you. And find that connection with self through your breath. So start to just take gentle control of your breath. Work with it this morning, just at this point. We're not actually doing a breath practice, but all breathing is practice. So just take a light control of your breath and find its way in through you. So it may not be going very far this morning, or it may go a little bit further, but each breath is taking energy into us, our life force, our prana. That's the meaning of prana, is our life force. So, and the breath brings us our life force. So as we lie here, we're going to begin to look at our chakras through a quick body scan. And I'm going to use a blog that I've written on the website last year. But it's actually, I've printed it out because although I say it myself, it's quite good for reminding us of the chakras and what they're all about. So it may be something you need to look at, or you want to look at later rather. So the first question to ask ourselves this morning while we're lying here is, how is your energy today? Are you feeling maybe lethargic or a little bit wired? You might be feeling on a high, or you might unfortunately be feeling rather low. So we already recognize our energies within us, partly because we're yogis, but partly everybody does. We use these energies in our relation to how we feel. We speak about them as a positive or a negative impact on our daily routines. The words we choose every day to describe our physical, our emotional, our intellectual, or our sexual energies prove that we are already aware of the changes and the fluctuations in the energetic states of our body and mind. So, coming to the chakras, they are metaphysical. They wouldn't be there if you cut yourself open and looked, so please don't. But they're metaphysical, but even modern science has caught up with the ancient traditions in recognizing these specific energetic presences at each of the marked locations. And hence we talk of butterflies in our tummies, we talk about swelling of our heart with happiness, we talk about words being caught in our throat, we talk about a sixth sense in our head and intuition. So we've all experienced the energies that come from these chakras. So the first one we look at is our root chakra. The root chakra, the Muladhara chakra. So it's literally where you are grounded. It's the bottom of your torso or your body, we think of, your tailbone, your sit bone area. When we sit up, that's what we're sitting on, our root chakra. Very much linked to our feet as well, because obviously we root ourselves through the feet and that links up to that area. So this is linked to your, physically, to your adrenal glands, your hormones, your metabolism, and adrenaline. And it's all about physical survival, this chakra. It's where our stability and security comes from. It's where we earth ourselves, and the element associated with it is earth. Each chakra has a color and is symbolized by a lotus flower. So the color for this one is red. The next chakra, if you move your hands maybe up your body, maybe with me. So the next chakra is at the lower abdominal area. It's your sacral chakra. So linked to your sex organs, this one. giving us energy literally to sustain life. It also therefore relates into our enthusiasm and pleasure for life. And the element associated with it is water. So then maybe move your hands up your body to just between your sternum and your belly button. And that is what you probably know as your solar plexus area, your Manipura chakra. And that's linked, understandably, to your digestive system, and in particular, your pancreas. This is where we find our willpower and self-control. It's sometimes known as the warrior chakra, and this one is associated with the element of fire. So then we move the hands slightly up and we come to the heart chakra. So pop your hands just over where you envisage your heart is, the Anahata chakra. It's not just physically linked to the obvious, your heart. It's also linked to your thymus gland. It's where, therefore, hormones are produced through the thymus gland that deal with our growth and our immune system. So the powerful energy here, we would know, is love from this chakra. And its element is air. So then we move our hands up our body a little bit further to our throat. And this is our Vishudda chakra. So as the chakras move up, they get a little less physical and a little more spiritual. So this is kind of the area we're changing. This is physically linked to our thyroid, parathyroid glands, and controls metabolism, physical growth, and mental development. It's also linked and controlling our levels of calcium in our blood. So it's about communication, understanding, and it's also linked to our ears. So it's about listening and being heard. And the element for this is ether. So then we move our hands up and place them just on that spot between your eyes on your forehead, which we know is our third eye. So this is our brow chakra, or our Ajna chakra. This is physically linked to our pituitary gland, which is very important for all of our body chemistries. It's very connected to birth and mothers because hormonally it's that area is involved with labour and lactation, the pituitary gland. And it's also very linked to intuition. So this, oops, lost the plot here. So this is one that we wouldn't exercise physically. We will exercise it through pranayama and breathing practices. The seventh chakra is when you put your hand right to the top of you, onto the crown of your head. This is the Sahasrara chakra, and it's the hardest one really to experience. But the best way I can relate to it is thinking of where I stop and everything else begins. And the energy here is also involved with the universal energy. So we're going to move in a second into some asanas that remind us of these chakras, just very basic and very easy ones this morning. So as we do it, we're going to do a couple of mantras, and I'll tell you a little bit more at each chakra. And maybe you can think at the end, again, ask yourself that question about energy, and maybe you can relate a little bit more to the energies. Okay, it's quite a complicated thing, so I'm hoping that I'm not just skimming it. Let's now move up gently to sitting. So when you're ready, roll to the side. Take some time to come up and sit, maybe on a block if you want to, or on a cushion. We're just going to sit in Baddha Konasana we're coming to. So bringing our soles of our feet together. So when you're in Baddha Konasana, think about your posture. Posture point here comes from your Muladhara chakra area, your root area. So find your sit bones, have a little rock around. Watch where you're sitting on them. I can imagine them as a circle, and I try to find the dot in the middle, because often I'm rolling back to the edge of the circle, or I'm rolling forward to the other side of it, or one side is a little bit wonky. So try and find those center points of your sit bones and make yourself comfortable. And we've got our feet together at this point. The other part of our rooting, our Muladhara chakra, works with the feet very much, and we know about how we root through our feet. So we're going to take our hands now and clasp the shin of your leg. Try and think about a long body to start. Just give yourself some space through your abdominal area and through your front of your chest. Pop your elbows then and your forearms slightly against your legs, which are open, and then engage that those tummy muscles rather. Draw them back. Feel that sort of connection then to the perineal area. Close your eyes, take a couple of breaths, just drawing in. So what we're working with here, a lot of it is your pelvic floor and the abdominal muscles. So they all move down towards your root. You can probably feel that connection with your sit bones. So tuck that tummy area, tuck the chin, and then just allow yourself gently to roll forward and move downwards to look down towards your feet and your root area. So here, let yourself then just become heavy, but do keep the tummy muscles engaged just to support the lower back. As you sit here for a few moments, your feet will start to possibly open, but the connection should still be there between the outside edges. And your legs might start to open a little bit more, and your hips might become a little bit heavier, and you'll feel that grounding sensation begin. So anybody with uncomfortable backs, just draw your tummy in and draw up a little bit more. Don't go down too far with the gravity to start. So just breathe here again. And as you breathe, we're focusing on our Muladhara chakra, our root chakra. So let me just expand a little bit on that. So as I say, this is very linked to our survival, our physical survival, our adrenal glands. And we find stability through this. It connects us to the earth, just through our bones and skeleton. So this is when we ground and support. And when it's balanced and fluid, this root energy brings physical health and a comforting sense of belonging. When it's imbalanced, physical problems are seen in our bones and lower organs. And mentally, we can feel disconnected and slightly anxious, or quite anxious, in fact. So often people that have mental health problems have an imbalance in the energy in the root chakra, but that's obviously not what medical science would deal with. So the root chakra, every chakra has a symbol. The symbol here is a red lotus flower. And these symbols are spinning all the time. So if they're not spinning at the right rate, that's the way of visualizing it as a visual aid. If they don't spin at the right rate, then they're not working properly. Imagine a car, if one part of it's not working properly, it can quite easily affect other parts. So if you want to ever work with your Muladhara chakra, this is a good pose to sit in because it's very attached to your grounding rooted area. And a nice mantra to use would be, I am confident, I am calm. So maybe you'd like to take 3 breaths before we move on and say those little words to yourself. I am confident, I am calm. And after your 3rd breath, we're going to move on now to another pose, which will relate to our sacral chakra. So if you can grab a brick, we're going to take supported bridge. So come down carefully onto your backs, bring your brick close to you. Before we actually go up into bridge, let's just bring our feet in, ready for bridge. And let's just find that pelvic tilt sensation. So as we inhale, we're feeling a neutral spine. As we exhale, we're just tilting and drawing our pubic bone and pelvis up towards our belly button on the front of our body. And then releasing again. So just do 2 or 3 little pelvic tilts on or off the breath. And this is you starting to work with the area of your sacral chakra, that lower part of the abdominal area. Again, you might can feel all the muscles drawing up from the root area up towards it. That connection through our body between muscles and bones and joints is also a connection through our spinal area, if you imagine it, of the chakras. Okay, so we're going to move up into supported bridge now. So find yourself connected to the floor. Here our grounding would be through our back, but also you probably still feel quite heavy in the hips. Have your brick nearby, gently roll up with your pelvic tilt and bring the brick in at either the very low or the second level, wherever you feel you want it to be this morning as you take supported bridge. So feel that grounding through your feet now. They are working with your root energy to make you feel connected to the floor and feel safe and stable. So once you find yourself in this pose, this works well with our sacral chakra. So the thing to do is to remember which poses go with what, because then if you feel the energy is wrong, then you can work with a certain pose. So Svadhistasana, our sacral chakra. Our sacral chakra is very linked to our sex organs, as I say. It's that area of the body low down, giving us, as I say, it's to do with life and reproduction. But it also energetically works with our enthusiasm for pleasure in life. And it's a very creative area. So these words all join together. It can be very focused energy, physically and emotionally. When balanced, it allows us an acceptance of enjoying our life and embracing it. When it's imbalanced, it brings physical problems in those areas. So bladder, prostate, and reproductive organs. Mentally, we have an inability to focus, perhaps, or establish boundaries with others. And its element is water, so that's a little bit unstable in itself. You want a flat, calm surface, you don't want it wavy, and you don't want it murky, if you think of it that way. The flower for this one, the lotus flower, is yellow. No, sorry, it's orange. And for 3 breaths, let's just take the little mantra that goes with it, which is I feel and I create. So take 3 more breaths here in your own time with those words. I feel, I create. And after your 3rd breath, and when you finish your mantra, lift up gently through your feet, root through your feet, and lift up, take the brick away and come down onto your back again. You'll need the brick perhaps for support. We're going to take Jatari Pravriti on each side, so a twist to either side. So we're going to take our knees in one at a time to chest, hands out to the side, ready to support you. And then breathe in, and as you exhale, engage your tummy muscles and roll either to the right or the left, whichever side you would prefer this morning. Go with the flow, and pop the brick under your legs to support you if you don't quite hit the floor. Use the brick as an extension of the floor to support you. And come into Jatari Pravriti twist. So here, don't worry too much about the legs being stacked, the knees, the ankles. If your legs move a little bit, Just allow them to be. Move slowly into the twist. Go with your body. Let everything just release into it. And if legs end up straight, do not worry. Just go into that feeling of twist. We use a twist because this is a solar plexus chakra, which is right kind of in the middle of us, between our sternum and our belly button. The Manipura chakra. So twists are great for this energetic center, and hence why it's linked to our digestive system. Hence why when you do twists, if you've got bloating or tummy upsets, twists really, really help. So it's related particularly to our pancreas. And this chakra is related to our willpower and self-control. It's our ability to know our own personality and to be confident in relationships with others and the world. So quite a major one. All the chakras have a really major relationship with our lives, basically. This is called the warrior chakra sometimes. Its element is fire. And you feel that fire burning in your belly. That might be where all these phrases come from. People have associated that feeling of energy there. The imbalances are linked to digestive problems, not surprisingly, ulcers, allergies, fatigue among many. The pancreas, obviously, problems with that. Diabetes can be a sign of imbalance in this energetic center. Mentally and emotionally, an imbalance with too little energy or a blockage is low self-esteem and addictiveness, perhaps. If there's too much energy, it can be that people are rather over-assertive and controlling in their behavior. So let's take 3 breaths on the other side now. So engage your tummy muscles, lift your legs up gently back up to center, take your brick over, and in your own time, find yourself slowly moving over to the other side in this twist. So once you've reached over and you find your support in your twist, we're still working with the solar plexus. And usually we do two sides to this, don't we? We always have 2 sides to a twist. So you turn yourself one way and turn yourself the other way. Perhaps that relates to spinning that disc in the middle, this lotus flower. The lotus flower that's visualized here is a yellow color. So not a strong color of fire, but more of a gentle point in the fire, possibly the yellow color. Once you're in position and you find your breath again, the little mantra for 3 breaths here is I act and I accomplish. Take your breaths with that mantra if you're comfortable using it. I act, I accomplish. Very much to do with our willpower and self-control. And after your 3rd breath in this gentle version of Jatari Pravriti this morning, engage your tummy muscles, use your hands to support you and bring yourself back up to center. And then we're going to come over, when you're ready, into all 4s. And we're going to take cat-cow here. So when you're ready, just begin on the breath. Remember, it's inhale and neutral, then begin into your cat in exhales. And move into your inhale into cow. Thinking of moving from the tailbone always at the start with the breath. And once you get that rhythm flowing, take it really easy, make it as slow as possible. And then really focus on that center point that you're moving, your heart. So this is Anahata chakra, your heart chakra we're thinking of here. So as we lift the heart through the back of our body into cat, and as we lower the heart and move it forward in cow, maybe you want to envisage a green light this time in that energy center. So that's the color with Anahata chakra. Let's continue in cat cow. You may want to take it into dynamic if you feel that you want to up the energy in this asana. So you can take it back a little bit and then move a little bit more forward through it. But really focus on where your heart's going in these two poses, in this little flow. So as I say, it's not just linked to your heart, this chakra, it's your thymus gland, which sits just above your heart. And that produces hormones stimulating growth and also produces, it's getting very medical, lymphocytes. So you see, medicine is very linked to what we're saying. And the lymphocytes are major players in our immune system, interestingly. So this chakra is obviously linked to the most powerful of energies, love. But it's not just for others, it's of everything around us. We find compassion here, we find self-assurance, and emotional development works from this chakra. It is the central chakra, so it connects us from the physical chakras of the lower body to the emotional and spiritual chakras up above it. Physical imbalances might be shown in respiratory or circulatory problems, heart disease. If it's too open, possessiveness, jealousy, and cruelty are signs of this chakra being too open. If it's blocked and there's a low energy in the heart, we get feelings of isolation and perhaps clinginess and a fear of rejection. So these energy centers we must keep healthy. The element associated with this one is air, and as I said, the color of the lotus that spins there is green. So just for your last 3 cat-cows, maybe moving with the breath on. 1, on your in-breath, you would say, I love. And on your exhale, say, I am loved. So that's the mantra for the last 3 breaths here. I love, I am loved. And doesn't it feel good to have done lots of cat-cows in the morning? We normally only take 2 or 3, but lots of them really get the spinal juices flowing and move everything through that center of our body. So everything is flowing a little bit freer. So when you finish your 3rd breath, come down then back onto your belly this time and find yourself in Sphinx. So you can use your brick here to support your head if you want, but otherwise, let's just try and open our throat is the idea. So in Sphinx, we're trying to think of legs can be further apart if you're more comfortable. Just find a little bit of grounding through the lower half before you go into this. Think of reaching out of your pelvis and rolling up the front of your body, moving your heart forward between your arms. And then look forward a little bit further than normal. We would normally just look 20 centimeters in front of our hands here. Draw your eyes a little bit forward and just allow your head to tip very slightly. No crunch in the back of the neck, but open your throat is the sensation we want to find here. So maybe you're now looking rather than at the floor a little bit further forward, maybe at the skirting board or the wall. But keep lifting up, draw the shoulders down away from the ears and open the throat, but open the back of the neck at the same time. Don't allow your head just to flow back. And hold and breathe. Find the breath, work with the breath to release into this pose. So the throat chakra, Vishudda, is it also governs our ears, as I said, very linked to our thyroid, parathyroid glands here, all about metabolism, physical growth, but also mental development. It's about communication, obviously, through our throat, and also our listening skills through our ears. It's about understanding, being understood. It's about hearing and being heard. When balanced, we can express ourselves clearly and truthfully, and we're also willing to listen and consider. So obviously imbalances physically affect the neck, ear and throat area. Emotionally, low energy blockages obviously show as uncertainty in speaking. A little bit of shyness or embarrassment or confusion may come into it. Too much energy is verbal aggression, even going as far as lying. So our throat chakra, Vishudda, which is blue in color, this lotus symbol, and it's linked to the element of ether, which is therefore getting a little bit more spiritual and light. So last 3 breaths in this position. I express myself freely and I listen. Quite a long one. I express myself freely and I listen. And then when you've taken your 3rd breath, you may want to release back into child's pose for a second or two, for a couple of breaths. Do so if you'd like to. And then we're coming up to finish in cross-legged, seated. So we come up to seated, cross-legged, again back to our grounding. And then think from that grounding rooted area of lifting up and opening up the spine. And imagine all those discs now being released as you open up to spin correctly at the right speed, moving up through the body. You have to be a little bit open to these ideas. Some people are very closed off to anything that's metaphysical, but you have to envisage, use it as a visualization. So now we come to our 6th chakra, which is our Ajna chakra, which is our 3rd eye. So just find your Vishnu mudra and use your 2 fingers to come up to your 3rd eye. Let the other fingers just release. We won't bother closing nostrils here, so let the other, your thumb, your ring and your baby finger just find somewhere that they're comfortable. But make sure you found that 3rd eye spot with the index and the middle finger. So have a little roll around there and genuinely find that spot. You'll know it. It's that ah feeling. When you hit it, you know it. And then just hold there. So go back to thinking about your posture, thinking about releasing up through and the connection from the root chakra right up through to the 6th chakra, our Ajna chakra. And then find your breath and let that breath come in and out of you freely, right down through all 5 chakras below this one. Connecting the energies and releasing the energy that you don't need. So as you breathe with eyes closed, connect to that area. This is linked to your pituitary gland. It's just behind that area, and it's one of our most vital glands in our bodies, which controls most of the body, sort of general chemistry. It's very connected, this in tradition, to birth and mothers. It's very connected to intuition, and women are spiritually thought to be more intuitive in the older traditions. So this is a much more spiritual than physical chakra, although it's linked to physical parts of us medically. It's a seat of knowledge, it is known as. A 6th sense, we may know it as, our awareness of self. So imbalances of this would bring an imbalance in our mental state. Concentration may not be there, imagination may not be there. We feel we're stagnating. A balance, however, finds inner peace and a deep understanding of things. And sometimes we have it and sometimes we haven't. So it's one we really need to work on. And because it's a bit more difficult to work on, asanas don't always work. We have to use pranayama. We have to use meditation. More subtler forms and more spiritual forms of practice will affect and balance this energetic center. But just being here on the mat, you might find it's worked. So now release your hands down to your knees. Maybe connect to a mudra if your hands might naturally go into one. Have your eyes closed. So ask yourself again, how do you feel energetically? How do you feel physically? How do you feel emotionally? How do you feel mentally? You've worked through the energetic centers, our chakras. The seventh one is the one at the top of our crown. This one is very difficult to relate to for most people. It's a real spiritual connection. And how I like to think of it is it's us connecting with the world around us and the bigger picture, the energy of the universe. So imagine that spot in the top of your crown that is the very end of you. And imagine that connection it must have with what's around it. The energy from you connecting, colliding perhaps, with the energy above it and around us. So when that's balanced, we get a complete sense of peace and we can fulfill our lives. But one of the chakras very much can affect the others, remember. So that's a little map of you and your chakras that we've gone through. So just to finish, eyes closed, focus on that spot at your crown. Find that connection with the energy outside. Bring some of that energy in with 3 more breaths and a little mantra saying, I remember and I connect. 3 breaths focusing on the top of us and what's out there. Release the breath. Just keep your eyes closed for a second or two. Feel that energy within you. Feel that energy around you. Energy is there. We just always, not always rather, can see it. And that's the same with these metaphysical chakras. So we finish our mapping system of the chakras and the subtle body in yoga. Quite a deep thing to think about on a Monday morning. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've connected. I hope it's got some meaning for all of you. All of this is on my blog called Hidden Energies, which I've actually printed out, as I say, and it's got some poses that we'll use this week to work on all those chakras. So you might want to read it up and even print it. It's quite a good memory thing if you are interested in the chakras. Thank you for your practice this morning. Sorry it's a little long-winded, a little bit heavy for a Monday morning, but we'll move on to our physical practice a bit more as we go on with the week. Thank you for being here and namaste.